What up, tubes? So, I have concluded my investigation on alien abductions, and here's how I feel about it. But before I get into it, I want to say that the audiobook that is on YouTube called Communion, that book was written by Whitley Strieber. Very interesting book, and it will be in the comment section down below. So, my take on alien abduction is that I cannot prove, nor can I disprove that any type of abductions have occurred. But what I can say is, from people that I have interacted with on social media about this topic, a lot of that seems like it would be far-fetched. Like, some people just want to be, in the loop. They want to be a part of something. So I take most of these social media alien abduction stories from people with a grain of salt. The one that seems to be the most believable is from Whitley Strieber. But then again, to me, it's just a book. But he seems to think that it happened, but I have no way of proving it, and neither does he. However, Whitley, if you watch this video and you get upset, oh well. Now, I have, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, had a dream about seeing a spacecraft that had little windows up on top, and you could see little people through the windows, like there was a light in there, and the only thing you could see was the shadows of the little people with big old heads. I mean, they looked like they had pineapple-shaped heads, sweet potato-shaped heads. It looked like one of those little creatures had a cantaloupe-shaped head. But then again, I still think it was a dream. And the craft itself had lights at the bottom of it and up on top. So it had a dome on top with little windows, and it was basically your typical flying saucer. Well, there was a white light that was emitting through the kitchen window, and that's how I got up. I wanted something to drink, and I went into my cousin's kitchen. At that time, she was staying in Vincent, Alabama. And I raced back to the pull-out couch and tried to wake up my father, tried to wake up my brother. She was the only one that woke up. Her husband wouldn't even wake up with all the ruckus going around with me screaming at about 8 years old. And she said, everything will be fine, go back to sleep. And she opened the door, and when she did, I was engulfed in this white light, and it's basically blinding. And she said, they're here for me, not for you. So bang, I'm out. I wake up, I tell my father about it, who is deceased now, and he says, you're full of crap. He said, it has to be nothing more than a dream. Well, our cousin said, no, it happened. And she firmly believes that her and her husband were both abducted by aliens driving down the road in Mississippi in 1975. And there's no way to disprove it, and there's no way to prove that it happened. But this woman, when she tells me her story, it's very believable, just like with Whitley Strieber. Because I just got into the book, and it was a very good book, but there again, I still think it's just a book. However, listening to him talk on some podcast, I'm beginning to think that maybe some of the stuff that he has said is far-fetched, but then again, I cannot disprove it, nor can I prove it once again. In closing, I cannot prove what occurred to me. I cannot disprove what occurred to me or to my cousin that night in Vincent, Alabama, in the middle of nowhere in Alabama. However, I was an over-the-road truck driver for many, many, many years. And in such time, I have seen things in the sky that did not make any sense. Blue lights, orange lights, red lights, yellow lights, and they would zoom across the sky and stop, and then zoom back, and then stop. And I remember a time on Interstate 40 in New Mexico years ago where we all came to a stop. There was no accident, no nothing. It was because there was weird lights in the sky, and they were all multiple colors, and they were all trying to collide with one another. I was informed by a relative who works in law enforcement to tell me whenever I had told him about this. He said, and I quote, "Shut the absolute hell up. Don't post it online. Don't talk about it at any time in your life." I asked why. He says, "Let it go. Leave it alone." I'm not scared of the little green, gray men. I'm not scared of any of them. I'm not scared of the men in black. Come on down. Come on down. I'm going to tell my story regardless if anyone believes it or not. Same with Whitley Strieber. I get what he's always going to say. Same with the 4 men that were abducted at the Allagash Wilderness. Wilderness. So, I want to end this video by stating the book was great, but I have kept that to myself for many years, and unlike some people, I did not get PTSD from it. I just genuinely don't care. And I was told by a lady on one of the social media sites that if you get into it, then the aliens come visit you. No, you have to be a chosen one, from my understanding, to be visited by extraterrestrial beings, and chances are it will be the Greys. However, stranger things have happened. And for anyone that states, well, why would an extraterrestrial advanced civilization decide that they want to get in their spacecraft and come to Earth and abduct some guy from New York or wherever? The same reason why we go out into the woods and we tag an animal. Let that sink in. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will not be talking about this topic anymore because I have concluded my investigation. Some of it is believable, and some of it, probably about 80% of it, seems like 100% science fiction and hogwash. So, there you go. I do not care who I offend. I do not care who gets upset or uppity about it. Y'all have a good day. Welcome to the internet. You're going to get scrutinized. Same with me. I don't want nobody to believe my story. I still think it's a dream, still to this very day. My cousin, on the other hand, says that it happened. This was about 29 years ago. So, do the math. Y'all have a good day.